You are listening to the Hammersley Brothers eCommerce podcast. Like what you hear and want to take the shortcut on your e-commerce growth? Join hundreds of brands that work with us and head over to joinhb.com. That's joinhb.com and see how we can help you further. Join our members and smash your targets and unlock the profits within your e-commerce site. Good morning, Ian. How are you? Or good evening to you.
Yes, I'm well, thank you, Mark. Yeah, it's late now because I was faffing around with my new podcast mic and failed.
Yeah, and I said to you, don't bother, because the first time you try it, it won't work. It never works. You get something new and you're excited about it, and it never materializes straight away, does it? You have to keep plodding along. And to be honest, that leads us into what the topic of today is the heaven and hell of selling an e-commerce product. And by that we mean, when you're selling a product, you either have to focus on selling the heaven, the things you're going to get, the wonderful life is going to be changing based on the product you're getting, or the hell, the things you're going to move away from. So, and it's different for different products. And I think that if we go through a few different examples of different products and talk through our thinking about how we'd sell those products, then people could understand what you'd focus on and why. And again, it comes down to what we talk about e-commerce. There's no one size fits all for e-commerce, is there? So you wouldn't do the same model for everything. You wouldn't sell one product in the same way you sell a different product. Completely different.
Should we just talk about why we came up with the heaven and hell concept before we go in?
You can, because you came up with it, so you might as well say that.
Well, I stole it from a friend who so I'm going to take it from him. But yeah, thanks very much. But we've talked the heaven and hell concept. It's not unique to us, but we've written the process, and we're just going to just about to record a new workshop for the level 2 group called the heaven and hell system. And essentially, it's because the root of any marketing or any positioning, there is normally an emotion. And in order to understand how to position the brand, you're normally leaning on either what they want and what they don't want, which is essentially what they want is the heaven and what they don't want is the hell. And it's very interesting because when you sort of deconstruct a lot of brands and e-commerce businesses, which product topics, it becomes instinctively obvious to everybody whether or not it's a heaven or it's a hell. But if you're not aware of this, if you're not thinking about is my brand a heaven sell or a hell sell, you can get lost. You're not sort of aware of it, but it is often heaven or hell. And so just unpacking it's the sort of thing, once you understand that most brands are either a heaven or a hell, and it's pretty bloody obvious which one they are, it's like, oh my God, I had no idea that this was going on for the last however many years, hundreds of years, and it isn't unique to us. This is like going back to all the copywriting masters who were often leaning between the heaven and the hell. And it's the cornerstone, in my opinion, in order to get the brand positioning right, and also what ads to run in Meta, and what email campaigns to run, and what your copy should be, and your whole positioning. So it's a damn right. It's one of those concepts that's incredibly obvious once you have figured it out, and you're looking back, and you're seeing it through the lens of, is this a heaven and hell play, a heaven or hell play? But when you looking at it up the mountain, it's kind of like looking up a mountain. You're like, oh my God, it looks ridiculous. When you look down, it's like, no, it's really obvious. I can see the path. There's the path. It's dead obvious. So anyway, that's the concept of it, which I think I introduced, better than you. Thanks.
Thank you. I think that what we're looking for is we've talked about it as positioning before. So on top of positioning, you've got the heaven and hell, which kind of starts to give you an idea of where the positioning might work. And then the positioning for each product we're trying to sell, there will be one element, either of heaven or hell, that will resonate with the market way better than others. And when we hit that resonance, we'll know that we've got the right ad because it works 10 times better than another ad that doesn't talk about that. So we're really trying to find what resonates with the audience, and that's the start of it. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find the killer ad. We're trying to, and also the killer landing page, because what we focus on will make a difference. And also, the other concept to understand is that some brands, we might focus on heavily in the advertising, but once they've added to the cart, we might then have to address the hell elements as well. So once they've added something to the cart, a lot of the time they're convinced that the product's going to work for them, it's going to do it all. But then some of their anxieties come out and say, well, what happens if it doesn't arrive on time? Or what happens if I don't like it? Or if it doesn't fit? Or those kind of things. So sometimes you address heaven just completely for the product all the way through the sale, but sometimes it's heaven and then hell, and then you get the sale. So should we go through some products and talk about some easy ones?
Yeah. So just to make it very clear for everybody, the heaven is what people want, and the hell is what they don't want. So in our previous speak, we used to call the heaven job to be done, and the hell was what they were anxious about. So let's take a couple of categories. Take one. What was the first one that we've got on the list?
Car batteries.
So car batteries. Okay, that's a nice simple one. So car battery is hell.
Hell.
Why is it a hell, Mark? Tell us why it's a hell.
Well, when you sell a car battery, you're not selling the life-changingness that battery is going to have in your car. Your people are buying a car battery because their car doesn't work. And effectively, once they want to get the car working, they want to move away from the hell that the car not working is causing. And then once they've got the battery in the car, they're not going to think about it. They're not sitting there going, "Oh my God, I'm so glad I've got that Nikon battery sitting in the bonnet."
So
my life,
the hell would be
is just
The hell would be if the battery doesn't arrive, on time. The hell would be if it doesn't fit. It's the wrong battery. The hell would be that it didn't work and
set fire to the
can
car.
You imagine if you desperately need a new car battery and you put the order in, you're about to go on a long trip with your family and you decide to go and change the car battery and it doesn't arrive, or it does arrive and it doesn't work and the whole family's sitting there. It's an absolute nightmare. So you would sell on the hell, and that's what all of the ads would be. Reassurance that it is going to work first time and it's guaranteed to fit your car. So you just reassure. So, and it's the same, any sort of spare part is similar to that. I think there's another example I think we just threw on the list which is a replacement fridge hinge. And it's an example that we've used at time and time again. Like a replacement fridge hinge is definitely a hell, and you want to make sure that it is guaranteed to fit. It's once you've done the job, it's going to last forever, and it's it's going to arrive really quickly. It certainly isn't an emotional job to be done.
Yeah. And one of those hell items, so like taking a car battery, for example, one of those hell items will get the attention of the buyer way more than other things. So if you take not car batteries, but like normal batteries, it's like how long it's going to last. Like that's the main selling feature. So obviously they want it to fit. They don't want it to blow up. They don't but they're sold on how long they're going to last. So it's basically you won't have to replace this battery as often as you would have to do with another battery. And that's how a lot of the batteries are sold. So within the hell that you're trying to move them away from, one of those hells will be much more, will resonate with the customer a lot more. And so, if you're going to go and sell a battery or a spare part or one of those, you want to go and analyze that industry and work out what the biggest hell point is. And you find that sometimes, sometimes they actually create the whole brand around it, like longlastingbatteries.com,
Yeah, and when you land on the site, you'd want to have a signpost saying, guaranteed to fit, guaranteed next day delivery, guaranteed 5-year warranty, and lots of trust and credibility. Saying, that the battery arrived, next day, worked first time, no problems at all. So, should we move on? Next one.
Yeah. So we've got designer sunglasses. So designer sunglasses is, I mean, it's all, it's complete opposite, because you've got a
Yeah.
product that is effectively all margin and all intangibles rather than tangible. You are selling on something. I mean, you're not selling on the some of the physical parts, are you? I mean, if you
No,
did that,
there's
you would go and
absolutely,
spend £2 or $2 on a pair of glasses.
yeah. Once you've got over the basic UV polarizing, which you can get, in a pair of
Yeah.
$2 sunglasses, it is a complete. There's no functionality benefits at all. It is purely an emotional lifestyle play, and
Yeah.
so you cannot sell on. You can't sell on any anxiety. You can't sell on any hell.
No.
There is no hell big enough in that market that is going to justify. No returns policy is going to matter. Let's say you're selling a
No.
pair of designer sunglasses for $400. Okay,
Mm.
no returns policy is going to matter. It doesn't matter what your guarantee is. It isn't going to be enough.
Yeah.
There is nothing that you can do to reduce the hell enough to make them buy. You have to lead firmly with the heaven. And the heaven is this. You are going to become this.
James Bond
Bond character, and it is standing. You're buying into a lifestyle, and that's what, and that's why it's photography and it's video, and it's also really being with your products being seen by and being worn by people who you really admire.
The right people.
The right
people you want to be like. Yeah. And so like you'd never see a Ray-Bans advert with, that we use top quality hinges and we use a plastic that doesn't rub on your nose. Like they just can't lead on any of that, because as soon as you reduce it down to the physical product, people start thinking, you're charging me $250 for a plastic thing that sits on my face with basic lenses. It doesn't make sense. And so everything is completely about heaven. It's all about the heaven.
And it's so
similar to
many
perfumes and aftershaves.
Yeah, and there's so many stories about fashion brands, sunglasses brands, shoe brands, who have done, bumbling along with the nicest product. It's quite cool, but iconic. What's the latest one? It's the bloody sandals. There's some brand
Crocs.
of sandals. No, well, there is Crocs as well, but there's some brand of sandal that was being seen, and all the celebrities were wearing it for the BAFTAs, and it just bumbled along, a dying brand, and then one or two of these, a couple of people, the influencers, and it absolutely took off. I mean, Markle wore the Veju trainer. She was pictured wearing the Veju trainer, and that brand went from nothing to 120 million, globally. Absolutely took off. But that is very much, you either become massive, but it's very much the heaven. Yeah. Okay. And there isn't
extreme
really.
of it. It's extreme of it.
Yeah. It is.
In fact, it's very hard to launch a designer sunglasses brand on your own because unless you've got someone with a platform that can actually create that status in their mind, the buyer's mind, it's difficult to do. If you are, competing with the kind of like the buyer that wants to buy a cheap pair of sunglasses, doesn't really care the status of it. Like, that's not really a market you want to be in that much. Effectively, you either want to be the king of heaven, or you want to be nothing at all in that market, don't you? So it's difficult. And then really all it is, if you look at who sells sunglasses, it's brand extension from all the existing brands that are already popular. Like, you've got Prada doing sunglasses now, you've got Gucci, you've got Armani. It's all the fashion brands. They're just extending their brands and doing them. Whereas there's very few, like remember the what was the one that was really big when we were at school? Was the Oakley. Came out of nowhere, and they were like a sunglasses brand that came from the brand extension from their ski goggles, and then they did these wraparound shades, and we all wanted them. But that's quite rare, isn't it? But still, it was kind of built on something. It was built on a a platform
It's
of
also
high
hard to.
performance.
In a way, it is a bit of a protective moat. I mean, it is quite hard, for if somebody approached us now and said, in fact, they did, and we were quite honest with them. They said, look, we're a designer sunglasses brand, and we want to, we're selling sunglasses for $350, but no one's ever heard of us, and we're like, right, okay, well that's, it's all about the ads, and if you can get celebrities to wear your sunglasses, you'll do well. But if you can't, there isn't really anything unique about your sunglasses. But and there isn't there's a lot of limitation in terms of it. But let's move on to another. Let's go another heaven or hell.
So bedding. Let's talk about bedding, because bedding's a mix. Obviously, we've got a lot of experience at selling bedding now, but
well, let me stop a second. Wait a second. Sorry, bedding. What's the heaven of bedding? What's the hell of bedding? Which is the stronger emotion? What's the heaven of bedding?
Well, the heaven of bedding is that you're gonna have beautiful sleep, and you're gonna wake up feeling beautiful, and you're gonna be looking great, and your house is gonna look amazing. When people come around to your house, they're gonna think, this person's doing well. Their bedding's lovely.
Okay, what's the hell?
The hell is moving away from sweaty sheets that don't wash well, that lose their color, bobble,
that tear, fray,
that tear,
uncomfortable, itchy,
uncomfortableness, itchy. So, it's all those things you're trying to move away from.
Yeah.
So it's a real mixture.
There's a hybrid. There is a hybrid there, isn't there? And what we're saying is, you in most businesses you do get a hybrid, but some businesses are more extreme, and it's what you lead with, and you can't really, if you try and lead with everything. I mean, that said, if we were running a meta campaign for bedding, it would be leading with the heaven, but when they come to the site, we have to reduce the hell, but with warranties and guarantees and 10-year guarantee and lots of trust and credibility. Because there are hybrids. I mean, gifting is a good example of a hybrid, because gifting, the heaven is the emotional reaction of the gift recipient, which is what you would lead with on Meta and Instagram.
Yeah.
But the hell is the anxiety that the gift recipient isn't going to like it, or it's not going to arrive for the event. So, it is a hybrid. You have to lead, but you're not going to lead with this product will arrive for your birthday, because that isn't why people come through in the first place. You lead with the heaven, and you back it up and reassure with the hell.
I think that's quite common across lots of purchases. I was just thinking what you were talking about, like a house purchase. So when you are in the market and you decide to look for a house purchase, when you go and look around houses, you're very kind of like, oh, this is fun. Maybe we could sit in that bedroom, and that garden looks lovely, and I could see myself here. And you're very kind of like looking at the heaven of it. The closer you get to the sale, the more you go, is this house going to fall down? Is it being built right? Where's that oil heater's not been installed?
To help.
Yeah.
I think the longer the buying purchase and the higher the average order value, the more you have to do both. So take, for example, we're having a meeting at the moment with someone who's selling coffee. They're trying to become, they're a really great coffee brand. The time lag of them making a decision from once you're Googling coffee to buying is very short. Yeah, and so it's all about the heaven. The heaven of the coffee is, this is the best tasting coffee you'll ever experience. And the hell is really what people moan about in the ads, in the reviews, is it doesn't turn up. Well, you would never lead with the best tasting coffee in the world by saying, we promise it will turn up at your doorstep. That's not why
we delivered it.
Yeah. So, but take a mattress, right? Mattress is a long purchase, right? The heaven is what you'd lead with in the ads, which is the most comfy, luxurious sleep you'll ever had. The anxiety, which is a lot, was what happens if I don't like it? Will they get it up the stairs? What do they do with my old mattress? And you then reduce. So I think the longer the purchase, the more you have to think about both. The shorter the purchase, you're leading with, the heaven or the hell at the start. Give me an example of. Let's do some others. Let's do some other ones we would lead with, which is clear. Or what about controversial one where people think it's a hell,
Okay.
or they think it's one and actually it's another?
Skincare. So
Yeah.
skincare, anti-aging skincare, for example, like everybody thinks that skincare is sold on heaven and beauty and everyone looking really good, but a lot of the time people actually buy because they don't look like an old man or woman. And so it's sold from, like, you've got to look like heaven because you kind of, like, skincare is heaven. It's all this heaven. Everybody's having this heaven, but you actually have to get across the hell and the avoidance of hell without it almost being too obvious. Because you can't say, don't look like an old witch, buy our product. Like, you can't come out and say
Well, it's
that.
funny. One of the things that they often have is the before and after. The
Yeah.
before is the wrinkled, the wrinkled prune, and after is and you're like, oh my god, this is what I'm going to look like. And so,
Those before and after pictures are so ridiculous, though. They always, like, they take one in bad lighting with, like, down lighting, and then they take one and, like, they've gone and got it, and it's just like, just give me an actual before and after that is the same lighting and normal. But I guess maybe they can't because it doesn't work.
because it feels like with cosmetics, I think particularly if there's a health angle with the cosmetics, which of course there's lots of people selling, a cosmetics, health and beauty, but has a sort of health problem solving rational bit to it. You're actually selling the hell, and it's sometimes is that what happens if you don't do anything about this? It's going to get worse.
Yeah.
I suffered with this eczema for years and years and years until I finally discovered this product, and I wish I'd found it years ago. It's life changing, and it's
when we were talking about some of those supplements, like those NMM supplements and those kind of things, talking to those kind of people, and the tallow skincare cream and all that kind of stuff. Effectively, what we found is you sell on hell because the avoidance of the hell, but the product has to look like heaven because it has to fit into the lifestyle of the person they've already got. So, like, if you are selling to the average female consumer in America who has skincare, who's like in their late 20s, for example, and you had, like, this horrible package that they're going to put in their bathroom, like, they don't want to put it in there because it's not going to fit with the aesthetic of their bathroom, but they want the product to work. So they're buying on hell, but they need it to look like heaven so it fits in with what they're doing. So you've seen a lot of those brands, like, sell on hell, but actually the product and the packaging and all that kind of stuff is heaven because it fits in with the other things that they've bought for that lifestyle. Because nobody wants, like, you spend all that money on your bathroom up, and you spend all that money on your kitchen. Nobody wants a product in there that looks disgusting, even though it works.
I think you're right, and I think that is a secondary dimension, and I think you would still not lead with the fact that this, it's supplement.
No, you wouldn't. But I think that a lot of those markets we were looking at were very competitive, so they were all doing the same thing.
It become commoditized.
Yeah,
NMN became commoditized, and it's the same thing with, like, lion's mane and supplement, that kind of stuff. It's become commoditized, and so you were looking for a point of difference, and actually, they're trying to sell, a ridiculously high margin, skin. I mean, I'm going to say something now which will offend people, but the margin on cosmetics is unreal. It's like, I'm going to say, I nearly said Emperor's New Clothing. I did say Emperor's New Clothing, but
yeah.
The margin is astronomically high. You're basically selling water.
What's moisturizer? Moisturizer's oil and water kind of mixed together with an emulsifier. That's it.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I mean, it's unbelievable. So, you'd be talking margins of 85%, which is
same with supplements.
Incredible.
Supplements have got huge margins. That's why there's so many people trying to sell supplements, because A, they have huge margins, B, they have a great lifetime customer value, and they are cheap to ship.
But the cost of acquisition is high. There's a lot of competition. The CAC is high, which is why you've got to get the marketing right. Which is why you've got to understand: am I leading with a heaven or leading with a hell? Any other examples before we say anything more damaging?
We've got school shoes.
Yeah.
So, I think that's probably more hell doesn't it? Like
Yeah, because
avoidance
you're
of the
selling to the
child's feet.
parent.
Mm,
You're selling to the parent, and what the parent wants is the anxiety. Oh my God, I've just bought these. They've just grown out of them. They've gone through the bottom of them. They've gone scuffed. They've fallen apart. And also the kids are going to have, they're going to walk. It's going to ruin the feet.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's much more. It's a much more of a functional. The kids got to like them, and that's also an anxiety. So that that it's definitely a hell, avoiding hell, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
and I think a lot of kids clothing and kids products are sold more on hell than branding, because like a lot of parents actually want the child to. It's all about the child's welfare, but they, like I don't know whether you remember, but the haircut my mother gave me, our mother gave us when I was young, was probably not for my fashion benefit. Was more for like ease of what it looked like. And also my glasses, those green glasses that my mother dressed me in, again, was more for the healthiness of my eyes rather than my ability to track the opposite sex, just to put it like that. And so, parents buy products for to move away from the uncomfortable. It's all about practicalities, a lot of it. Now, there is some brand extension from the Pradas and Gucci and people dressing their children in those kind of clothing and stuff like that, but like it's not as huge.
I think that's an extension of themselves.
Yeah.
If a parent wants to dress their child in Prada and Gucci, I think that is
I remember when we had Ben, we wanted to kind of like, we didn't want to change our house, and we wanted our house to kind of still look like a normal person's house, not be full of toys and stuff. And so the first purchase we made was the pram. So we wanted like a kind of like a nice looking pram to kind of fit in with our lifestyle. So we'd like spend all this money on the pram. And of course, that's the first purchase. So there's a lot of money spent on prams, because the people who buy the prams are parents before they've given birth, where they're still in that kind of denial stage where they think, oh, my lifestyle won't change. And then you get into like 2 or 3 years into it, you're just like covered in sick and just lying around in a room full of toys and plastic. Then your house is gone, and at that point you're completely different. So how you sell a pram is different, because you're actually selling to your own parents most of the time.
Yeah, so, young. That's exactly. Thousands.
So
of
heaven.
Any other? So anything?
Yeah, the interesting one
was
Spoke London. So Spoke London sells trousers, and you would think that trousers were sold
exclusively men's trousers. Actually, yeah.
Yeah. So you'd think trousers would be sold as heaven. You'd be like, well, you're going to look great in these trousers, and you're going to get looks, and it's going to make your legs look good and all that kind of stuff. But like Spoke London, I mean, I don't want to say they came from nowhere, but they obviously been there for a long time, but then they hit on the resonance, and they hit on the resonance of fit, and they did fit really well, which is actually a hell. It's like, buy some trousers that actually fit you. Instead of having like the standard 5 sizes, we've got, I don't know, 100 sizes or whatever they say. So effectively, it's a product that you thought you would lead with heaven, but actually it's hell. You're leading with hell. Yeah. Obviously, they've still got to look nice. You're not going to buy some trousers that fit you that look horrible, but it's not what they lead on.
Yeah, they're leading with the hell, which is, oh my God. I think men generally, one of the worst things you could possibly do is go and try and buy some trousers at the Trafford Centre in Manchester, because it's just exhausting going into the change room, trying some trousers on, and then walking out. There's something about it's like someone's injected Valium into your body when you're trying to buy trousers on.
The accountant speaks to me. I'm like, right, gonna get this, gonna understand it, and he'll start talking. I'll be like, what did you give me in the coffee? What? Stop.
I know. Yeah. So men will do anything to avoid this pain, this hell.
Yeah.
And so Spoke London come along and go, we're guaranteed this fit. Take our Fit Finder. You find the perfect fit. And
well, it's weird though that it's not like that for shirts. Shirts isn't about fit. Shirts is about quality material. Like, and because I think men expect shirts to fit more easily than trousers. So I don't know why that is.
Slightly more forgiving, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, men, I mean, I think there is. I mean, the great
I
thing
think
about
people have more variations in
shirts,
a leg. Some people have long legs and short legs.
Yeah,
And,
they do. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think the great thing about trousers and shirts for men is that once you get a fit that you like, the loyalty is brilliant. You carry on, you come back. I mean, that's the theory anyway. We'll see what happens to Spoke London. But it is interesting. They're leading with the hell, and then the secondary is the heaven, and it's sort of like the primary and the secondary, which is probably quite useful to talk about.
Let's just summarize it. So basically, what we're saying is the reason we're talking about this is because, first of all, you have to realize what your brand and what your products are and what you lead with. Once you know you're in the right direction, you can kind of see that from the reviews that people are talking about. The difficulty with the reviews is that a lot of the time they're going to talk about the hell. So sometimes they won't, because they all talk, like, people always talk about what went wrong a lot more like than what went right. You can pick up a little bit from the reviews, but ultimately, if you've got a heaven product, you have to do a lot more of the market emulation and go and find the products around the world and find the advertising and find the kind of, like the short basketball player and those kind of things, the people who are hitting above the weight, and find out what it is. Because you want to look at what resonates with the market and find out what that is. So you're either heaven or hell. You find the resonation.
And I'll say sometimes, sorry to say one more thing, sometimes the heaven and the hell is exactly the same. It's the yin and the yang.
That's true.
It's the opposite. Look at frying pans. When we're working with the pro cook, when we're looking at the frying pans, what the positive heaven was, it was truly non-stick. What the hell was, and this is generally for all people buying saucepans, the hell was it's terribly.
It's not actually non-stick.
It's not non-stick. So we know it's about the non-stick, and of course, so what you're going to lead with your meta ad, the world's best truly non-stick frying pan. That's what you will lead, because that's what we know is the heaven and also the hell. So sometimes it's so obvious.
It's why so many saucepan ads are a fried egg in a saucepan just dropping out the pan. That's why you see so many ads like that, because that's what they've got to demonstrate, and they see that, and everybody goes, "Oh, I've cooked an egg. I've had a nightmare with an egg," and it, and so you're kind of just trying to resonate with that main selling point. And really, once you find that resonation point, that's when you can scale very, very fast.
Yeah,
because everything else
obviously
lines in.
We go into it in more detail, but the summary is that ask yourself, what is the heaven of my product? And it can vary across the whole business, but let's just keep it simple. What's the heaven of my product? What's my hell? And how can I communicate this? What feels like an easier emotion to put? So what do I feel is the primary? And also, have I got evidence that I can back this up? Which is what we go into more of the positioning. But just start that. It's a very simple test. What's the heaven?
Yeah.
What's the hell?
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ian.
All right,
I'll let
Mark.
you get to sleep.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I know. Cheerio.
Cheers.